Hello, my name is Leo, and welcome to another reading of the Elder Scrolls. Today, we'll be reading A Brief History of the Empire, Part 2. As you can tell, I'm still recording in my car, and it probably still sounds like shit, and I'm sorry. But this is what's gonna happen. So let's read this. Indeed. Alright, now how much word wrapping is this? Oh, no word wrapping, amazing. Oh no, there's a little bit of word wrapping. Okay. Well, that's fine. So I can pretty much use the computer to read. That'd be nice. Okay, let's begin. Volume 1 of this series described, in brief, the lives of the first 8 emperors of the Septim dynasty, beginning with the forebear Tiber Septim and ending with his great-great-great-great-grandniece, Kintyre II. Kintyre's murder in Glenpoint, while in captivity, is considered by some to be the end of the pure strain of Septim blood. Certainly, it marks the end of something. Uriel III not only proclaimed himself Emperor of Tamriel, but also proclaimed himself Uriel Septim III, making a surname as a title. In truth, his surname was Uriel Manitarco, from his father. In time, Uriel III was deposed, and his crimes reviled. But the tradition of taking the name Septim as a title for the emperor of Tamriel did not die with him. For 6 years, the War of the Red Diamond tore apart the empire. The combatants were the 3 surviving children of Pelagius II, Potema, Sepphoris, and Magnus, and their offspring. Potema, of course, supported her son, Uriel III, and had the support of all of Skyrim and northern Morrowind. With the efforts of Sepphoris and Magnus, High Rock turned. Hammerfell, Somerset Isle, Valenwood, Elsewhere, and Black Marsh were divided, but most kings supported Sepphoris and Magnus. In Third Era 127, Uriel III was captured at the Battle of Itchidag in Hammerfell. En route to his trial in the imperial city, a mob overtook his carriage and burned him alive with it. Oh, that sucks. His captor and uncle continued on to the imperial city, and by common acclaim was proclaimed Sepphoris I, Emperor of Tamriel. Sepphoris's reign is marked by nothing but war. By all accounts, he was a kind and intelligent man, but what Tamriel needed was a great warrior, and he was that. He was that? Okay. It took an additional 10 years of constant warfare for him to defeat his sister Potema. The so-called Wolf Queen of Solitude died in a siege of her city-state in the year 137. Sepphoris only survived his sister by 3 years. Sepphoris never had the time during the war years to marry, so it was his brother, the 4th child of Pelagius II, who assumed the throne. The Emperor Magnus was elderly, and the business of punishing the traitorous kings of the War of the Red Diamond drained much of his health. Legend also accuses Magnus's son and heir Pelagius III of murder, but that seems very unlikely. For no other reason, Pelagius was king of Solitude, following the death of Potema, and seldom visited the imperial city. Pelagius III, sometimes called Pelagius the Mad, was proclaimed emperor in the 145th year of the Third Era. Almost from the start, his eccentricities of behavior was noted. He embarrassed dignitaries, offended his vassal kings, and, on one occasion, marked the end of a grand ball by attempting to hang himself. Oh, life of the party, this guy. His long-suffering wife was finally awarded the regency of Tamriel, and Pelagius III was sent to a series of healers and asylums until his death in 3rd Era 153, at the age of 34. The Empress Regent of Tamriel was proclaimed Empress Katria I upon the death of her husband. Some, who do not mark the end of the Cyber bloodline with the death of Kinshara II, consider the ascendancy of this dark elf woman as the true mark. Her defenders assert that though Katria was not descended from Tiber, the son she had with Pelagius was, so the chain does continue. Despite the racist assertions to the contrary, Katria's 46-year reign was one of the most glorious in Tamriel's history. Uncomfortable in the imperial city, Katria traveled extensively throughout the empire, such as no emperor had ever had since Tiber's day. She repaired much of the damage the broken alliances and bungled diplomacy had created. The people of Tamriel came to love their empress far more than the nobility did. Katria's death in a minor skirmish in Black Marsh is a favorite source of conspiracy-minded historians. The sage Montanius' discovery of a disenfranchised branch of the Septim's family's involvement with the skirmish was a revelation indeed. I'm going to look at the fucking book. When Cassadar assumed the throne at the end of his mother... When Cassadar assumed the throne at the end of his mother... he was already middle-aged. Only half-elven, he aged like a Breton. You can read the rest. He aged like a Breton. In fact, he had left the rule of Wayrest to his half-brother, Uriel, due to poor health. God, everyone's named Uriel. I know, right? Nevertheless, as the only true blood relation of Pelagius, and thus Tiber, he was pressed into accepting the throne. To no one's surprise, the Emperor Cassadar's reign did not last long. In 2 years, he was dead. Uriel Lariat, Cassadar's half-brother, the child of Katria I, and her imperial consort, Lariat. Wait, the father and the son had the same name? Yeah, well, that sometimes happens. Anyway, left the kingdom of Wayrest to reign as Uriel IV. Legally, Uriel IV had become king of Wayrest. Wait, no, that's right. Legally, Uriel IV was a septim. Cassadar had adopted him into the family when he had become king of Wayrest. Nevertheless, to the council and the people of Tamriel, he was a bastard child of Katria. Uriel did not possess the dynamism of his mother, and his long 43-year reign was a hotbed of sedition. Uriel IV's story is told in the 3rd volume of this series, Part 3, which we will be reading tomorrow. So, that has been a reading of the Elder Scrolls, A Brief History of the Empire, Part 2. Tune in for Part 3 tomorrow, but for now, my name is Leo, and I will see you next time.